Hey, good morning from North Potomac, Maryland. This is Randy Karchner, and this is my buddy, Lorin Nicholson. All right, you're muted. There we are. This is Lorin Nicholson, down under in Australia.
We're here. We're winding down for the day. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I gotcha.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, great to see everyone. Well, to hear everyone, maybe.
Yeah. You know,
Whatever. They can see us and hear us. That's the main thing.
that's right. I always love talking with you, Lorin. And we were chatting earlier about gratitude. And let me share something. And then you've got a story you want to share about that. And I got some ideas as well. But I love a gratitude class I'm taking now called Gratishift. It's something I'm doing once a week for the last few weeks. And this is our last week on it. But it's with a guy named Tony Child. And I'm really enjoying it. And here's something that he said that I think is really pertinent to today, especially. If you perceive a world of not enough, then you'll experience a world of not enough, and you'll act to this idea that there's not enough. Speaking of gratitude, I love that statement. Tell us, you had a story about that I'd love for you to share.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's easy, and I think more so in a modern world today where it's easy to go onto social media and see what everyone else has and what everyone else is doing and what all the exciting stuff going on. And sometimes you sort of think, oh, woe is me, like how tough is life? And and it certainly could have been that way for me, being blind, feeling as though that you miss out, because the reality is you do miss out on a lot of things, and how do you deal with that? And gratitude is probably a real fundamental, but essential and powerful um, tool or principle, I can think that we all need to apply to our life, and look for those things that are positive, that are happening, and things that you can do, and realize that you are given things, you have things that maybe other people miss out on, and it's easy to obviously look at stories where that is true. Um, but I was speaking to a group of people just earlier this week, and one of the questions was like, Lorin, how do you find, how do you find gratitude when you've had to deal with so much kind of negativity, and and how important is that? And I can just say from first-hand experience, Randy and everyone, it's just critical. Like if you can't see what's good around you, really life can become pretty nihilistic, and it loses purpose very, very, very quickly. But when you're starting out and things are a bit tough, you might not feel as though you got a lot to be grateful for. But what I found is that once you see one or two things that are pretty cool or that you can be thankful for, well, it doesn't take long before you notice a couple of other things that are good. And it's almost like, I mean, if you'll even look at it from, they talk about, I know psychologists talk about it, and for heaven's sakes, even the Bible talks about, the talents. If you get five things and you use them, you acknowledge them and do something with them, then all of a sudden you end up with 10 talents, or 10 apples in your basket. But if you've got 2 apples in your basket and you don't use them and you don't do anything with it, guess what happens? You end up with no apples in your basket, and so it's amazing how it can project you in those two directions. And so having gratitude and looking for things that you can be thankful for, and looking for opportunities in front of you, start to open up more and more opportunities, and you see more and more things that you can be grateful for in life. It has a deeper sense of happiness, I think, when we do that.
Absolutely. And there's always a way to look at things. Like something happens, and your first reaction is, oh my gosh, why did this happen to me? But yet, and we talked about this before, if we can turn things around and find a way that we can be grateful for that because of something, we'll realize that life is happening for us, not to us. And again, that victim mentality thing we always, few moments
Yeah.
we feel like, man, this is only happening to me. Never happens to anybody else. It always happens to me. But it's not really like that. I was on a leadership call last night, and it was pretty interesting. Something that was said. It's just like this play on words where you have the words opportunity is nowhere. And you have that put all together so that there's no spaces in between the words. And it looks like opportunity is nowhere. It's the first thing you see. Well, if you push it apart, those you can make it into three words. Opportunity is nowhere. You push it apart so that there's four words. Opportunity is now here. So it all depends on how you look at things. There's always usually a way to turn something around and be grateful for it. It could have been so much worse, or I'm so grateful that this happened rather than this happened, you know? So there's always a way to look at things.
Well, that's it. And it's interesting. It's sometimes when those unexpected mishaps even crop up in our lives that all of a sudden it opens up a new door, a new opportunity. I remember recording in the studio once, and we recorded, we're putting a song together. One I composed myself, and my other keyboard player was there playing, and we were sort of arranging this piece of music, and then we left it alone, and we came back a week or so later to finish it off, and we got about two-thirds of the way through, and all of a sudden it just went off in this different direction. He's like, "What the heck happened there? What were we thinking?"
Yeah.
But then, as we stopped and listened, he says, "Well, hang on a second. Then it's actually pretty kind of cool. Maybe we should turn it into like a little a little interlude or something like that in the song," and it really turned into something very, very positive. And so sometimes what we maybe see as a glass half empty kind of thing, all of a sudden turned into a glass half full and another opportunity.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Sometimes we just need to let go and let things happen the way they're supposed to. Another statement I love is let go and let God. Just there, you are a perfect conduit for so many things of goodness if you'll allow yourself to be that. But we have to be in a place of gratitude to be able to accept that and to be able to move on to the next thing that we're supposed to do. But we have to kind of really be in tune with that stuff. So yeah, that I love this statement too. When things get really difficult, um, let me share this real quick. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. So if you hang in there, realize that you have a purpose. You have to find that by going through several things and being grateful for that road that you're on that will help you get to what that purpose is, and really be mindful of everything going on around you. Then you will be able to realize something better with your life than just sitting there and being frustrated that things are always going wrong all the time. There's a lot to be grateful for if we can look for the opportunities.
Well, Randy, can I say that, mate? I am grateful that you and I are buddies
Yep.
for these many years. We've met each other later in life, and it's almost as if we've known each other all our life. I'm grateful for my, I've got a job, I've got a roof over my head, I've got a lovely wife who actually cares for me, and that's really good. A family that cares for me too, because it could be easy to be really trapped as a blind person and not to be able to get out and experience life. And often people think, wow, how does a blind person get out and do that? Well, you know what? I got people who actually care for me, and I care for them, and we get to go and enjoy life together. And that's something to be grateful for.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. The thing is, isn't it true that when you have, like, you got your five senses and everything, but if you lose one of those, doesn't it heighten the senses of everything else? And maybe you find other ways that you could be sensitive. Isn't that true?
well, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is true, because I've had to use them and had to pay attention to them, like my touch and feel, and if I go on a hike or a bushwalk up to the top of a mountain, or go to the beach and walk on the sand, it's all the textures and all the sounds, and there's a panorama of sound and a panorama of feel and sensory. Um, experience around you that's not all just to do with your eyes. And so
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. You're amazing, Lauren. I remember when my wife Jeanette and I were over there visiting you guys. We came from the airport. You guys just showed up. We weren't expecting you to, but you showed up at the airport, you and Lisa. And it was so great to see you and meet you in person. And then you were going to go in our car with us that we had rented. And I hadn't driven on the other side of the road for years. So I was really nervous about it. Jeanette didn't want anything to do with it, so she sat in the back. So you sat up in the front seat with me, and I said, I said, this is going to be like the blind leading the blind, and it really was because I had no idea where I was going. We used your GPS. The thing that was unbelievable to me is wherever we were, you knew where we were. You couldn't see it, but you said, "Aren't we at this intersection here? Are we here at this intersection?" It's like, wow, he already knows who we are, even though you can't see it. So your sensitivities have been heightened, and you've been able to rely on other senses. Just because you can't see doesn't mean you still can't see. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? With
yeah.
quotations. So
Well,
seeing
it's
is
like,
believing, believing is seeing, all that kind of stuff, I think. So,
that is, and like you said, it's now here. The opportunity is now here, and you got to seize it.
yep,
You got to. The only person that can grab onto it is you. So
yep, yeah, that's right.
so I guess that's what I've done, and fortunately had a lot of people who've cheered me on along the way, and that's why we're doing this because we're cheering you guys along. We
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
we want to see you guys succeed too, and
Absolutely.
hopefully
We're just a
you are.
couple, we're just a couple of blokes from different parts of the world, just trying to share a few things of gratitude. And I hope that you can find gratitude, and you will if you look hard enough and try to get outside of yourself and look to those people who love you and look to make a difference wherever you are. Thanks for joining us today. This has been Randy Karcher and Lauren Nicholson with Get Motivated with Lauren and Randy. Hope you'll join us in a couple of weeks when we come back again. All right.
Have a fantastic week.
All
Have a
right.
great week.
Take care. See you guys soon.